We're back and we're thrilled to be joined by this week's Beast of the Week, Don Lemon, one of the most iconic names in the news world, not just because it sounds like a cartoon villain. Known for his tenure as CNN anchor from 2014 to 2023, including his own primetime show, Don Lemon Tonight, Lemon cemented himself as a bold voice in news, and whether he's fearlessly critiquing Donald Trump or expressing unfiltered thoughts live on air, he's never one to back down. And now he has not one, but two shows on YouTube, Hot Topics at 10 and Live at 5. Don Lemon, welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi, can you hear us?
I was just on my stream, on my channel, doing the breaking news on Gaza. Did you guys see that?
I did see that. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about you, Don. We're going to talk about what you think about what's happening in DC. We're going to talk about you, what you're doing, how indie media works, and should Michelle go, all the themes that you've been talking about.
Absolutely.
We're interested in what you feel the energy is in DC, what you're thinking about the hearings, and what looks like an enormous amount of fun that you're having gone off on your own as a media entrepreneur.
Yeah, Sam, you know about that, don't you? They don't like us big mouth, sort of middle or left-leaning people. They just get rid of us.
They just get rid of us. They just sweep us away. It's very easy for them.
They find ways to get rid of us for little things, for being a big mouth or saying something.
Oh, yes.
Whatever. You know the score.
I do. It's relaxing for them to clear the slate.
Don Lemon, the highly recognized former CNN anchor and leader of the Lemonheads. Don, I wish I had a big lemon on my head to welcome you to the Daily Beast podcast.
Yes, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Hi, Sam. Hi, Joanna.
Hi.
I've been called a lot of things, but never a beast and a beast of the week. I kind of like it.
Very nice. You need a T-shirt.
You need a T-shirt.
Oh,
we'll
boy.
send you a T-shirt.
We will send you a T-shirt. Are you in DC as we speak?
I'm in DC as we speak. I got here overnight.
Oh, wow.
I'm doing a couple things. I'm just kind of here monitoring the situation, but nothing here is normal. I'm kind of trying to ignore that. And I'm here speaking to, quite frankly, the National Press Club about independent media.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, does that mean, are you going to any of the inaugural balls or the inaugural wakes that are on the slate?
Sam.
Yeah.
Sam.
No.
But don't.
I will go and be your date if you go, Sam.
I would go to a wake, but that's it. That's my limit. And I would dress in a black shroud, really. Actually, I will not do that. And I imagine you're going to get out there as fast as you possibly can.
Well, you could have Michelle Obama's seat because she's not going. What do we think about that?
I respect her for doing that. I really do. I think that we should stop putting on airs. I think we should stop this sort of phony civility that folks think that you have to give. Yeah, I think that you should. There's protocol. You have to be civil with people, but it doesn't mean that you have to smile on their face. It doesn't mean that you have to do things that they wouldn't give them courtesies that they would not give to you.
I completely agree with this.
Yeah. And let me just say this. I like to follow the lead of women because I think women are always, they're the most evolved of the sexes, but especially Black women lately have been really keeping our democracy intact and voting in the right direction. So Michelle Obama, as a Black woman, I will follow her lead. And, she told us when they go low, we go high. We did that. Although I think when they go low, we should go to the crust of the earth right now. But I'll follow her lead.
You don't think that she should be there to support Barack? Because surely he's feeling like that. I mean, Trump went after him over the whole birther incident. I mean, in many ways, Barack has every reason to feel even more strongly than Michelle does. I would have thought that the symbolism of the two of them as a couple, reminding us of how they were in the White House, is stronger than absence.
I don't know that symbolism means anything anymore. I actually think all of those norms and niceties are just blown out the window. I think that Michelle Obama has endured so much. Why should she be subjected to this? I totally agree with you, Don. I just totally agree with you.
Look, we're assuming, and let's keep this in mind, we're assuming that's the reason why, and I think that the obvious reason is usually the reason that she's not going. But yeah, I mean, why would she subject herself to that? Why would she? Let's go back to the speech.
Because she's not going for herself. She's going on behalf of all the people that voted for the Democratic Party.
To that point, Joanna, I think there are many people in this country who feel that the Democrats and folks, not just Democrats, but people who believe in democracy, who believe in this country, they are looking for an example to be set. And especially from Democrats who are trying to, at this point, hold our democracy intact. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. And the only party I believe now, and I don't think they're doing such a great job of it, the only party that's trying to keep our democracy intact are Democrats. And I think people want Democrats or people who are not part of the MAGA movement to be stronger about what is important, what is moral, what is right, what is democratic, by pretending that, by normalizing this behavior, that's what got us here in the first place. And I think an example needs to be set by rational, thinking, patriotic Americans that we will not normalize and put up with this behavior just for the sake of a performative act. Here we know. I just that's.
Sometimes you just have to draw a line. Sometimes you have to draw a line.
But I'm also independent. I agree with you to some point, Dawn, but then why is President Obama going?
Well, he's a president. I think it's fine for him to go.
She was First Lady. The two of them did it together.
I just think it's fine for her to make her own choice. I mean, my God, how badly do you think that Kamala wants to skip that inauguration? What's the over-under on her just like happening to get norovirus Monday morning? I'd be licking subway poles.
So
look at Karen Pence. Karen Pence is a Republican. Her husband was vice president of the United States. Look at her, she decided, I'm going to sit here, but I'm not going to make niceties. The difference between Karen Pence and Michelle Obama is that Michelle Obama would have had, according to the seating, she would have had to sit next to the man that they had been calling a fascist and who has been saying the most vile things about her and her husband for decades. And remember, as I was alluded to earlier, during the Democratic speech, she said that Donald Trump could not stand two educated Black people who were smart and who could rise to the level to be able to sit in the White House and lead the country. And I think we have to stand by our principles and our morals. And I would not want to sit next to that person if I were the First Lady of the United States. Now, that's different for her husband. The rules are not the same. She doesn't have to. People did not elect Michelle Obama. They elected Barack Obama to be president. So I think that she can make her own decision.
Let's face it, she's not going to the inauguration, but they definitely found a bunch of people to take her seat. Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, they're all going to be sitting behind him with those elected officials all around. I mean, they quite literally bought the best seats in the House. I mean.
And who's the guy that sings the America song?
I'm proud to be an American. That song, I forgot his name.
It's Greenwood. Lee Greenwood.
I mean, it's going to be very, very cold, and you have to listen to Lee Greenwood. That means that I won't be up on that podium.
You're in DC right now.
Joanna, are you going?
Oh, I'm going to the parties. I actually enjoy talking to people on both sides. I need to understand it more, and I want to be down there.
Okay, well, I think you're going to come back with a lot of stories, and I want to hear every single one of them, but I wouldn't wish those parties on my worst enemy. Well, maybe I would. Maybe I would wish them on my worst enemy.
I'm going to a party that's hosted by X, which I'm very excited about. Well, I'm hoping for a sighting of Elon, at least, with his child balanced on his shoulder.
Oh, my God. Here's a question for you, Don. Yeah, really.
No, I have a great relationship with that. But anyways.
Well, when you left CNN, you announced you were doing a show on Twitter. It was going to launch with an interview with him. And then he fired you, basically, even before the interview went out. What was that whole drama like, Don?
There was drama, but he didn't fire me. We had a content agreement, a distribution agreement. So didn't work for him. My entire show was independent of the folks at X.
Okay.
They were just providing a platform for me to be able to do the show and just exclusive content just for maybe, I think, 24 or 48 hours. So what didn't fire me. But I mean, that makes a great headline.
Right.
But look, I am always appreciative of every experience, and I wish it had turned out a different way, but it didn't. And so here we are. And I can't say a lot because I'm in litigation with him, active litigation, as you know. It wasn't the most pleasant experience thing that I had ever experienced.
Do you think that he gets the blue pass, the big all access pass at the White House? How do you think that plays out?
Of course he does.
Yeah.
Of course he does. I mean, there's been a report recently that he's looking for office space in or near the White House, and that they're going to set up an office.
I thought he got a desk in the Eisenhower building.
Yeah, and I said in or near the White House. So they found the Eisenhower building, which is adjacent to the White House. Perhaps that's where he's going to be. I doubt that it's going to be obviously in the Oval, not the West Wing, excuse me, but in or near the White House. So Eisenhower building, he will be reportedly.
How have you decided to cover Trump for the first 100 days? And how have you decided to feed yourself so that you can survive the first 100 days? What type of exercise are you doing? Are you treating this like an Olympic event? Because I'm really girding my loins here.
Well, Sam, the whole thing, the reason I'm here is to tout independent media and to give people insight at the press club. And this is part of the freedom that I had. I don't have to treat this as normal. I think I think folks are kind of tired of the whole, putting on an act, Joanna, and they appreciate that Michelle Obama is not doing it.
Yeah.
They're tired of, performative patriotism, performative civility. And so I am treating this as for what it is. Look, we have to take it seriously because the man is the leader of the free world. He was elected. But today, just in covering some of the nominees that I did today and yesterday, these aren't normal times. These aren't normal appointees or normal nominees. And I think people are tired of the sort of the folks normalizing this behavior just because someone has been elected to the presidency or an elected office. It does not mean that it is a good thing. Some things are objectively bad. And we've gone through periods in history where we have seen really bad leaders who have had a lot of influence, who have been elected. And so I don't have to sit there, which I love, and appease certain groups and pretend like everything is equal. I hate false equivalency.
Mm-hmm. It's such an interesting path to get there because when you have a really big job and there are a lot of voices in the room and there are a lot of producers and executives and a lot of voices in your ear, to feel unconstrained is really a gift. Is that what you're conveying in your work now? I feel that.
It's a gift, but also you're right, 100%. But it's also, how do I say this? It's like a detox that has to happen. It takes a while.
Yes.
Because every time I, did my show, I go back sometimes and I look at the beginning of the Don Lemon Show on YouTube and Spotify and iHeart and wherever, on all streaming platforms. And, sort of the things that I did in the beginning were sort of very similar to what I did in traditional media, right? Well, if I say something about this side, I got to say something about that side. I got to do this. And that's not what this is.
Yeah.
I like the informality of what you're doing too.
Yeah.
I love the fact you've got the television on in the background. You've got the scripts in your hand. It feels like we see you in your home normally. You've got your photos on the fireplace. And it feels like we've actually got you. And Don, I was just looking through social media. It looks like you've actually got more viewers now than you had at CNN.
I do. That's what I wanted to say, Sam, when you said you've had the big job. I feel like I have the big job now.
You
and I just
do,
didn't know
yeah.
about it. Yeah, look, had I known, I am very fortunate. I'm very lucky that I did have the big job, as you say, Sam, to qualify for enough time that I am privileged enough that I don't have to go and look for another contract somewhere, right?
It's
that I
huge.
can afford to be able to do this independent media thing. Had I known what I know now from the beginning, I wouldn't spend a lot of money on a studio. I've got this great fancy studio that's in Midtown Manhattan that I never used. You know why? Because my subscribers say, we don't like you there. We don't want cable news. We want you sitting in your living room. We want to see a live stream where at the end you do karaoke on a Saturday night with your husband and your 3 dogs in front of the fireplace. And that's what they want because they feel like they connect to me. And we want that our comments are up on the screen and that you read them and you respond to them and you talk to us and you give us a voice. And that's why I started, quite frankly, Joanna, as I told you when I saw you late last month, I said, the folks want a voice. And in the beginning, I said, I feel like I'm doing the same thing that I did at CNN, where I was just talking to the viewer. I started a show called Lemon Live at 5 in my living room every day, live at 5 o'clock. It gets the most engagement of anything else, any of the taped interviews, any of the fancy studio shows that I do. And so that's what I'm sticking with.
Yeah, I love the interactivity of it and the fact that you shout people out when they, write a comment and you feel that you're talking to the audience. And that does feel like it's going to be the next iteration of media.
I think so too. And I think it has to be in a way because not being beholden to the powers that be is critical. And only if you have like the economic power and if you have an audience, it's kind of the next and only move in a free press, really. I think it's essential.
But Don, do you feel like when you wake up in the morning, do you ever have days when you're like, I don't want to do it today, and then you have the freedom not to do it? Or do you feel a huge obligation to turn up because you know that people are going to be waiting for you?
Is it fair to say both?
Yeah.
It's like, I guess I don't have kids, or it's like when, I don't want to get up and walk my dogs, but I have to. Or I don't want to, I don't want to get up in the middle of the night and change the diaper, but I have to. But you love it. So yeah, like I woke up this morning and I said, well, what am I going to do? What's the big news? There's not that much. And then something happens, or I get in front of my camera here and something happens. I just start talking to the subscribers and they give me ideas. And it energizes me. And because I also do a 10 a.m. show that's called Hot Topics. And I'll tell you where I got it from. Wendy Williams. Remember Wendy Williams?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Sit in the purple chair and just do a sort of, what do you call it? A free, whatever.
Sort of free association.
Free association, and just talk about things that are in the zeitgeist. And it was just going to be to do light things that were not so heavy politically. But it just so happens, when you have a Trump presidency, he takes over every aspect, sports, entertainment, or whatever. He becomes part of it. And so we just I started this show at 10 a.m. to catch people up. And it's just like sitting in a diner, having a cup of coffee. So I do 2 lives every day.
Wow.
But I love it and I get energized by it. But yes, some days do I not want to work? No. But actually, does it feel like work? No, because I'm doing it right now. I'm in a hotel room.
Right.
Which is a freedom that people in legacy media don't understand and don't get, but they're going to have to pretty soon if they're going to be successful and continue on in this business.
How long before Tucker Carlson gets a job in the White House? How quickly can we look forward to that?
I don't know. I don't know if that's actually good for him, because I think it's good for him to be an insider, but yet an outsider. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But look, he has an influence in the White House without even having a role, an official role. By the way, remember, Elon Musk's role is not official. It's like a blue ribbon kind of thing. The whole Doge thing is not really a government thing, but it's sort of a blue ribbon thing, but it is, but kind of, you know what I mean?
Imagine that their day one plan is to defund Planned Parenthood and, public television. Wow. Going after those big whales, boys. Make cervical cancer great again. Good job, gentlemen.
My favorite thing, though, is how it started before it even got started with the H-1B visa things. And people found out, well, guess what? We need immigrants. Oh, wow.
Oh, wait.
They just want the right brown people, not the ones across the border, but the people who come over on airplanes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, boy.
Well, Don, I was going to ask you about Rashida Jones, who was the head of MSNBC, stepped down this week. Rachel Maddow is back on every night, having been literally paid $25 million for one show a week on a Monday. And obviously someone has woken up at MSNBC and said, we're not paying for that anymore. Let's get her back every night.
Yeah.
Why do you think they let Rachel Maddow just do one night a week when she was their most popular anchor?
Because she was the most popular anchor.
But isn't she only the most popular anchor because she's on every night?
2 things. One, I think she's the most popular anchor because she's really good. And I think that she's very talented. And I think that in many ways, cable news, because of all the cutting, because they know the cost of everything and the value of nothing, in many ways, that they are putting people who are not necessarily anchors in primetime positions. And there's a difference between being a good reporter and a good anchor. I just think Rachel Maddow is great, and that is why she's there. That's why she's successful. And they realized that the network would not be the same without her. So they said she wants one night a week. Plus, I'll come back when there are big stories, and I'll appear more often. If there's when there's an election, I'll do whatever. So I'm sure she'll be on tonight with whatever the breaking news is about Gaza and Israel as we are taping this. So that's why they allowed her to do 1 week, 1 day a week. 5 days a week. Is there a lot of pressure? Absolutely. I did it 2 hours a night. Can you imagine, for 7 years or almost 8 years? It's tough. There's a lot. It's a pressure. $25 million though makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I could feel some pressure for $25 million.
I didn't make $25 million. The money is still there for her, although it's dwindling, and it's probably not there for the new folks. So that's probably why you are seeing a different type of person in those.
What's your prediction for the great role of the American anchor? I mean, it just feels like that, publicly we're learning that they're being paid less for the same job. And as more people go off into independent media, it feels like that once central role is much less relevant than it was.
Look, remember when I think it's akin to radio and television, right? It's radio. So this new thing, the television is coming around, and that changed the game. So I think that, there's still going to be older folks and folks who like to get their news from these big screens that are on the wall. But if you guys have kids or young people, when was the last time you saw a kid turn on a television?
Yeah. Oh, they don't even know how.
Yeah,
they actually don't
turn
know how.
on the nightly evening news or on a cable news show. They don't. They're scrolling through these on their phone. They're on TikTok, which I'm on all the time, which I never thought I would be on. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook, which is a whole nother thing, right? No, they're not on Facebook. They're on these other platforms, Blue Sky or what have you. They're getting their news from social, and they're getting it in clips. The interesting thing to me is I still get people go, hey, CNN, but I get younger people now go, hey, you're the TikTok guy, you're the YouTube guy, and for me, it is fascinating because, as you said, I believe that audience that I have now is bigger than the audience that I had in traditional television.
Will you be live streaming the inauguration on the weirdest and worst MLK Day since?
So, Sam, you
forever.
have quite smartly hit upon a dilemma that I have right now.
Right.
Because I've been invited by some of the platforms that carry my program to come to cover it, and they've offered me studio space and to facilitate a way for me to be able to do it. Yeah, can I just be honest? It's tough to treat this as normal and then to be in a position to be able to cover it and to see what happened with Morning Joe and Joe and Mika. Look, so I've been saying, look, this is not normal, blah, 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 blah. And then to go down and cover it as if it's just sort of your run-of-the-mill inauguration would be tough. I think my subscribers and my audience would go, well, wait a minute. But also, there's a way that you can cover it if I come down, or I can come down and just cover MLK.
Right.
Sitting with them, with the inauguration running behind me from their facility. So right now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that. If I'm actually going to take Spotify or YouTube or iHeart or whomever up on their offer to cover it, or if I'm just going to sit in my place in New York City and cover it, say this is, because the mainstream guys are going to be going, there's Melania, she's wearing this. There's this person, blah, 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 blah. This is normal. So I don't know. It's a dilemma. I'm not sure. I don't know. What do you think?
I love the idea of just doing MLK Day with the inauguration playing out in the background. I think that's that's nice and saucy. I like it with a little sauce. So
I wonder what MLK would want you to do, and I think he would want you to cover the incoming administration. I don't think we can turn away here. And one of the things I am interested in, which I wanted to ask you about, because you're down in DC, but the last time Donald Trump was elected, 2016, there was a huge march, the Women's March. There was an enormous amount of resistance to him, none of which we appear to be seeing now. What has changed, Don?
I think people are tired. I also think that it is in large part because of legacy media, just the media in general. Two things. I think that we, and I'm guilty of it as well, or I'm a party to it, normalize this behavior by trying to say, okay, well, well, I didn't do that, but folks, let's put election deniers on the air. Let's over-index on understanding the MAGA folks. Wasn't that hard to understand. We know what they think. And I think people felt that they had to do this because they were trying to understand, and it wasn't really that hard to understand. So I think it has become normalized because it was our own failure as the media to normalize it. But then also now, if you look at the last election, it is because folks are largely getting their information, young people, and from places where there are no editorial standards or parameters, where you can spout off conspiracy theories, or you can say vaccines don't help people, and no one says that's wrong, that's a lie. And so I think that it's twofold, and it has to do with the media in both ways, traditional media and this new digital streaming space where you don't have to tell the truth and rely on facts, and no one is going to call you on it. And look, also the antitrust of it all, right? The lack of antitrust. Look at pretty soon, if the reports are true, Elon Musk could own two of the biggest social media platforms in the world, TikTok and Twitter, or X. Mark Zuckerberg owns the biggest social media platforms in the world, three of them: Facebook, Instagram, and Threads.
And don't forget WhatsApp.
Meta, and then WhatsApp. Okay, so all of that. That's a very powerful influence. And remember, with that comes algorithms that they can program and suppress and amplify whatever they want. And so I think that we have been influenced by all of that in the media, and that is why we are where we are. And people think that this is normal, and a lot of folks are just also acquiescing and complying and bending the knee.
I'm sure that you're going to see up there on the podium that actually the battle going on between Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg is the fight for TikTok. I mean, it would be an extraordinary thing for Amazon to own because, of course, TikTok shops. It would be an extraordinary thing for Zuckerberg to own. And, of course, now Lina Khan is out of the way. There's much more opportunity for mergers or acquisitions. And he's set up to actually onboard a lot of TikTok creators very quickly on Reels and Instagram.
Well, you've both filled me with horror.
Yeah.
Well, that was not our goal.
Reminder of what is coming. And it definitely, I feel that people are in disarray. They don't really know what to do in this moment. And I think...
Well, they can listen to the Daily Beast podcast. They can read the Daily Beast, and they can listen to Hot Topics at 10 and live at 5. Don Lemon, thrilled to have you. Thank you for joining us, and we will be tracking your progress, and I hope you'll come back on and talk to us again.
I will. Thank you so much. I am big fans of both of yours. I appreciate your work. Joanna and Sam, thank you for inviting me on, and best of luck to you guys.
Thank you. Independent media.
Best of luck to all of us. Best of luck to all of us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.